Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc!
Welcome to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show, brought to you by ProKart's Race Centre.
Far enough back, he's going to make the lunge down the inside!
The ultimate pit stop.
The safety car is coming in.
Fueling your passion for motorsport.
With an emotional moment that means everything.
All of the latest results, analysis, and interviews.
Roar the drivers on to the final lap of this race.
I'm Jamie Lemura, motorsport enthusiast, historian, and media presenter.
And I'm Lee Harrison, motorsport professional, Sprint Master Karts race driver, and Formula One alumni.
Hello everyone and welcome to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show. I'm Jamie Lemura, your host for this evening. Across the desk is my wonderful host, resplendent in red, fresh from a day at the track yesterday with the Ferrari Owners Club. I've got none other than Mr. Lee Harrison. Happy Bathurst Day, sir.
Happy Bathurst Day to yourself. So, sitting here, the race has just finished, and it's been a good day, a beautiful sunny day. Good to get a few loads of washing done at the same time as watching the greatest race in Australian motorsport.
I had the Do Not Disturb sign up from about 10:30 this morning and was not disturbed until about 5:30. So it's the very one of the very few days I don't actually get disrupted by children and wife in house.
You know, I've got the same sort of treatment. Mine started a bit earlier though, 9:30. I reckon I had to catch up on the sprint from Formula One Qatar last night, which was an epic race as well. So looking forward to discussing that one later on.
And one of the very, very few times I will tell you I did not watch it. I know the result, but I did not watch it. And the outcome, well, Oscar.
You've missed a cracker though, like an absolutely banana race.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was actually a decent sprint race.
100%.
That'd be about right.
Absolutely.
That'd be about right. Well, it was, you know what? I'll go as far as saying, and I told my mates today about it, that I think Oscar, within the next 12 months, will be the lead driver at McLaren.
Well, is that because Lando, you're planning on moving along somewhere, or...?
No, I actually think Oscar's a better driver than Lando Norris.
Yeah, no, right.
I'll call it now. And I think Lando's showing signs of driver error when he's actually genuinely been pushed by his teammate.
Yep.
And the signs aren't good already. And Oscar's only going to get better. And the only thing that's going to change that is if McLaren don't continue to give... Well, put it this way. Let me rephrase it. If Oscar Piastri gets the same preferential treatment, so it's equal car, equal everything in McLaren, I'm more than confident that he will beat Lando.
Yeah, it seems that way at the moment. Like ever since he did get on equal footing with the car with Lando this year, he's been able to qualify in front of him and dominate him. So
yes.
I don't see them putting him as the number one driver in front of Lando unless they're sort of 1 and 2 in the championship when they've got to make a decision. I think that at the moment they're pretty well focused on trying to equal Red Bull or beat them.
Yeah, absolutely not. I just wish McLaren came up with this car and the updates to this car earlier than round 10. It kind of makes me wonder what the championship would have looked like had McLaren had come out with this car as it stands at the moment at the beginning of the season.
Probably not much different.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Red Bull advantage was so big.
Yeah, and you still, like, even now, Red Bull, like, Max was still fastest last night, but yeah, just was luck of the draw for Oscar.
Yeah. We'll touch on the results last night and some of the... What do you think of the Qatar track?
I actually don't mind it. It's throwing up some, a track that doesn't get raced on a lot can definitely throw up some interesting results and throw some strategies out of the window. And there's obviously all the drama that's going on with the tyres at the moment as well. So it'd be interesting to hear some news on that if it comes out through the course of the show.
Sand aside, the first practice session was interesting. I managed to see that the other night, and just the amount of sand that came off the cars as they came out for their first lap, even though the track visually looked spotless.
Yeah.
It just shows you how much muck and garbage and gunk those cars actually throw up, even at sort of moderate speed, rolling out the pit lane.
Yeah, 100%. And it's all ingrained, so you can brush and clean the track as much as you like with street sweepers and FOD mats and the rest of it. But the extra downforce that is being pulled out by those cars that throws up in the air, it's pretty mega.
Speaking of mega, you had a mega day yesterday at Tailem Bend with the Ferrari Owners Club doing their annual day or 2-day event that they have.
Yeah, they have an annual track day for all their club members. That was pretty cool. Went up there with, thanks to Dean Canto and Edge Motorsport, do some driver coaching with some of the clients of the Ferrari Club of Australia. Got to drive some pretty cool cars and some very, very fast cars, which was nice. But spent the day getting the adrenaline up and cutting some laps around the bend, which is never a bad time. The weather was perfect. Nice, a little bit of wind, which made it, bearable out there while the sun was out. But had a really fun day.
For those that will probably ask when they hear this, there is a distinct... Because ironically enough, a few of the people that were attending the actual event yesterday tagged the Scuderia Ferrari Club that I preside over on our Facebook page. There are two distinct differences between the two, even though the names are very similar. So the event that you went to was actually the Ferrari Owners Club of South Australia. So they actually own Ferraris of various years and makes and types and all that sort of stuff. Whereas the club that I preside over is actually the official fan club that's linked to the Formula One team. So... in which case you don't have to own a Ferrari, you can be a passionate Ferrari supporter or motorsport fan. So very distinctly different between the two. Although we've tried in the past to kind of have a closer link with that club, because at the end of the day it's the same badge. Mm-hmm. It's the way I see it. But no dice, and unfortunately. So, but ironically enough, I know a lot of people that are actually in that club and kind of haven't associated with them anyway. So it looks like it was a great day. And what was your favourite beast? Which one did you drive?
Yeah, I was telling you before, I liked them all for different reasons. Drove some real fast things like an F8 and a 488 Pista and another 488 as well. They were really good just for raw speed and all the luxuries of driving a modern car. But then I also drove a 308 GTS Magnum PI spec, full shift gate and everything like that. And that was cool too, because no power steering, no luxuries at all. Really had to work to drive that car, and I did 3 or 4 laps in it and felt more tired than doing 10 laps in something else. So, literally having to grab the bottom of the steering wheel to get enough lock into the car to turn, and that one was like a real good mental battle as well, because like I was saying to you, I was doing like 150 mile an hour down the straight, and in an old car like that, you're not sure what the brakes are going to be like on it. It's Ferrari, it's going to have okay brakes on it. But, just trying to tell yourself that you can stop this thing at the end of the straight and you don't have to wussy out of it halfway down. And, that was really good fun. Just the rawness of that car as well, but in terms of not having any driving aids as well. So, no paddle shifters or actually having to put the clutch in to change gears and... get all your gear changing done early so you can turn in for the corner and stuff like that. But liked them all for different reasons. And then I drove a 612 as well, Scaglietti, which I think was like a 2006 model or a 2007 model car. And just to feel the difference in the way that the shifting worked in the gearbox, from that early era of auto changing with a quick shift gearbox or paddles, to now the seamless shift that something like an F8 or a 488 has got. That was just cool to feel that technological advancement over whatever, being 20 years or whatever, so 18 years. So even that was cool, and for being a more of a touring car, something that you would drive around the country rather than take it to racetracks and hot lap it. It was actually quite a fun thing to drive, and the owner was sitting next to me as we were driving past 488s and 458s and whatever, and he was in absolute shock and amazement that his car could actually do that against some of the newer beasts. So it was pretty cool, and it's just good fun passing on some knowledge and helping some people out and teaching them how to get the most out of their beauties.
Tell me, when you drove the 308, the Magnum spec, you didn't wish you had a Hawaiian shirt and a dirty Sanchez on your upper lip. Come on, tell me.
I wanted to take it for a cruise lap with the aviators on and just put my arm up on the side window, but I didn't quite get there. It was helmets on and having some fun.
Well, I could have given you the chest hair.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Selleck. I could have given you half of that sort of stuff.
I've been growing this chest hair for 35 years, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
Well, next time I have to manscape, I'll give you a donation. You
can keep that, thank you.
It's enough to fill a dustpan, I should say. Anyway, speaking of Scuderia Ferrari Club, we have some events that are coming up. So The final event of the SA High Kart Championship Round 6 will be held on November 5 at X Karts or Extreme Karts down at Gawler. It's the culmination of Year 1 of the SA High Kart Championship, proudly sponsored by Red Mill Bakehouse, Move Yourself Trailer Hire and TD Racing as well. It's $250 per driver. It's a 300-lap endurance race. There'll be pit stops, there'll be driver changes, and around the X Karts track, tight and twisty, and certainly a test for those that can feel that they can endure 150 laps per driver. So there'll be a trophy presentation, of course, to award the winners of the SA High Kart Championship at the end of that event. There'll be some prizes drawn and bits and pieces as well. And if you want to win a Kimi Raikkonen number 7 Ferrari spec flat peak cap, because I know that Harrison's look good in caps, and I suggest that you get yourself into the event and maybe win yourself a cap. Yeah,
look, I have been asked to be someone's ring-in co-driver for that event. I won't say who has tried to hook me up yet, but don't know if we can make it. Depends on what's happening with the Ultimate Club racer out at Puckapunyal with karting. So got 2 titles in that event to try and defend as well. So hopefully the info is out on that soon, and I can work out whether it's a viable option for me to go and race that race meeting, or whether I do end up at this high kart event.
Depends if you want. It depends on how bad you want to win the Kimi Raikkonen hat, or give yourself a chance.
I'll send someone in my place if it's
Kimi Raikkonen hat, Ultimate Club driver hat.
I'll just give you a solid donation to the club, and I'll take the hat.
Okay, well,
it'll only go on show anyway. It definitely won't go on my head.
Yeah. Yes, your wife tells me how you and caps go hand in hand. So
the only time I ever wear a cap is on the golf course. It's just to keep my hair out of my eyes, so that I can actually pretend like I can see the ball.
I suck at golf. I'll never. I did one Ambrose tournament probably about 15 years ago at Mount Osmond, and I promised myself I will never do it again. Have I ever told you that story where I teed off? I think it was on the 4th hole at Mount Osmond, and there's like houses that are literally just sitting below the golf course. And first attempt, I probably took out a nice big chunk of lawn. So sorry to Mount Osmond Golf Club. I hope they replace that divot all these years later. The second one, I managed to bend it like Beckham, and it teed straight off into the neighbour's gutter. And the third was just, I didn't even bother. I just said, someone hit it for me, please. Otherwise, and it was an Ambrose tournament as well for work. So, yeah, that was my first and only foray into the golf course. I promptly suck at that.
Well, look, I'm not much better, but I'm improving, and you'll be happy to know that divot that you took out of the course at Mount Osmond is actually now a sand bunker. So it was that deep. They just filled it with sand and said that this will be it.
Doesn't surprise me, man. I think I got root. I got
it's the Jamie Lemura sand bunker. There's even a plaque there that they instilled for you as well.
I hit that much turf. I'm surprised I didn't bend the actual the golfing stick or the club. Yeah, exactly.
It's called a club, not a golfing stick.
See what I mean? It's a stick. It may as well have been a stick. It was next to useless. I can't even call it a club. So yes, for those getting back onto the SA High Kart Championship, jump onto the Ferrari Club website to book your spot, www.sfcadelaide.com/online store, and get your entries in. It is open to non-championship drivers, general patrons, as well as championship drivers as well. Speaking of championships, the Southern Go-Kart Club are hosting the 4-stroke endurance race on October 29, an event that you and I are both doing, actually. And they so far have a current entry list of 62 drivers or 31 karts as it stands at the moment. There are still another 5 spots to fill for a maximum grid of 36 karts. So you know a little bit about this event, mate. We'll do our preview of the actual race itself in our follow-up show, but a little bit of background. What's involved in the race?
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty long one this year. It's 90 minutes using the full championship layout at Bolivar. Every 20-odd minutes, I think it's going to be, we'll be doing driver changes with 1 4-minute refuelling pit stop in the middle. So, yeah, very fun race. I think it's the 3rd edition that we'll be doing. This one's shaping up to be the biggest field so far. It's so much fun. It's a good way to finish off a club day. Obviously, the club championship round 4 is at that race meeting as well. So even if you're a 2-stroker, get your entries in for the club championships and make sure it's a good day. And yeah, hopefully there's a few teams there that have doubled up with drivers. So what my suggestion to those guys are double 4-stroke drivers. So my suggestions to those guys is even if you are borrowing someone else's kart, it may pay to bring your go-kart out to the track as well, if not just to race the club day, but to also possibly change some 2-stroke drivers' minds on the day where you might be able to lease your go-kart out, make a few dollars and fill the grid up. But yeah, definitely not going to be a race that you want to miss. It's going to be pro and pro-am classes. So, you know, the teams like myself and Ryan Morgan and Cody Harrison and Nick Caravas, and I think Josh Elliston is teaming up with Luca Polombaro and a few other really good teams of 2 really good co-drivers will be racing in a separate category within the one race. So similar to what they do with the Porsche Carrera Cup Challenge and GT racing. So there's trophies for first, second, and third in both classes. So yeah, there's something for everyone to win. It's good to see some returning faces to the grid. So it's really dragging some people along to get it happening, which is really cool. I think there's still a cash prize on offer to the first team that can crack over 100 laps as well. So that's going to be another little carrot to dangle for everyone. And from what I'm hearing, everyone's taking it relatively seriously. There's been a fair few people out testing even today and yesterday, and I know that our team did some testing a week and a half ago, and yeah, it's going to be a super fun race, and I really can't wait to get out there and get it done. We'll race the club day as well at the same time. While we're out there, we may as well just learn a little bit more ahead of the big grand finale endurance race.
You, my friend, having a look at this entry list, have your work cut out to defend your title. And if you tell me, like you have done in the past, that you're going to romp it in 1-2, you are kidding yourself.
Nah, we're all right. We're good.
All right, we'll see.
We're good.
You know what I'm going to see? The airport, because I'm going to do a Cody. I've got to bring, as soon as the endurance race finishes, I've got to race home, catch a flight from Adelaide to Sydney, and I'm in there for a week. So, yeah, got my work cut out. I've got to book the last flight out. So hopefully it's like a night. I can get a 9 o'clock, something like that, to fly into Sydney.
You'll be right.
I hope so. But
it won't even be that late. You could get a 7 o'clock out of Adelaide. You'll be sweet.
You ever seen me backing up the trailer? I'll need all the time I can get. So, yes, and my dear friend, my co-driver Ruben, was kicking some backsides at Toyota 86 over the course of... So my driver's been getting laps at Mount Panorama. Lucky bugger.
He's got to do more than laps around Mount Panorama to make up for you, being his co-driver.
Jeez, you know what? It'd be nice for once. Be nice. Won't hurt you.
It does. It actually breaks my heart.
What, being nice? Yeah. I told you have no feelings.
Yeah, no.
No sense, no feeling.
Follow us on socials, join us on our website, negativecamber.co, and be sure to subscribe to the Negative Camber Club for access to exclusive content, episode previews, and special deals from our amazing partners.
Brace yourself for the Soddy experience at Pro Karts Race Centre, the official South Australian distributor for Soddy karts. Picture this: karting excellence meets global dominance, all on our local tracks. Soddy karts are more than machines, they're powerhouses of victory. From the heart of France to the South Australian circuit, they dominate in all categories. But that's not all. When you race with a Soddy kart, you're backed by on and off-track technical support directly connected to the factory. It's not just karting, it's the Soddy advantage. Get ready to experience world-class performance, unmatched thrill, and victory like never before. Rev up for the Soddy experience, only at Pro Karts Race Centre. Visit prokartsracecentre.com.au or pop in for a chat at 30 Research Road, Paraka. Pro Karts Race Centre, fueling your passion, igniting your potential.
Now, Mr. Harrison, today I have an exciting topic that I want to discuss with you.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Yes, we're going to be deep diving into the world of custom apparel and merchandise tailored specifically for motorsports teams.
And at the top of our list is a company that has made a name for itself in the industry, Primera Custom Co. They specialise in designing, manufacturing and supplying custom apparel products for motorsport teams with a primary focus on serving the motorsport Australia industry.
Yes, Primera has built a strong reputation for catering to the unique needs of the demanding industry of motorsport. They offer a wide variety of items, including headwear and teamwear. In actual fact, they've helped us in the past in terms of being the Scuderia Ferrari Club, with supplying with our apparel as well. And Vito and the team, their commitment to delivering the high-quality products that they allow us to wear, like you have on now, you good man, you.
Yeah, I'm doing my bit. I've got my Primera Scuderia Ferrari Club jacket on right now.
Absolutely. And that sets you apart in the market for sure.
Absolutely. And what really stands out about Primera is their ability to provide quick turnaround times in motorsports. Teamwear updates are frequently required, especially when, it's a team like BJR or Team 18 and they're swapping sponsors all the time. They need a fresh update for all the loyal fans that want to grab their latest and greatest merchandise. So when new sponsors come on board, Primera understands this and ensures that teams can get their custom apparel in a timely manner.
You know what, mate? It's not just the custom apparel that they offer too. Primera also provide comprehensive merchandise solutions too. They've got a real versatile product offering that actually can be branded with logos, team names, sponsors, insignias. They actually played a part in creating the Scuderia Adelaide logo that you've got there as well. So they also do things like key rings, stubby holders, and they've got everything they need really to enhance a team's identity and marketability.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's impressive about Primera is their flexibility when it comes to order quantities. So whether it's 1 or 2 or 10,000, you're a large V8 supercar team or a smaller go-karting team, something like our Pro Karts Race Centre, it's great to see a company that can meet the needs of a diverse range of customers.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to the show and you're interested in connecting with Primera and discussing their custom apparel and merchandise solutions, hook them up and get in contact with them. Jump onto their website, Primera, spelt primera.net.au, or connect with them on social media via Primera Custom Co.
Whether you're a motorsports team looking for top-notch gear or seeking to enhance your brand present with some amazing-looking custom merchandise, Primera is ready to deliver their high-quality products with efficiency and expertise. And I can tell you, their beer cooler holders, their stubby holders, they keep those beers ice-cold.
Yeah, very, very good. I have one myself, and it's actually very, very nice. So I don't drink much alcohol too, but I use it for my soft drinks or my Pecco juice as well. So Primera's journey in the world of motorsport actually began back in 2011 and 2012 when they made their debut in the superbike scene at the Australian Superbike Championship. Since then, they've actually formed a strategic partnership with a few V8 supercar teams, in particular with Techno Autosports and previously. Also, I believe Ziberus now too with Newlon. And Todd Hazelwood, they've got a really strong relationship there too, and they've continued to expand their presence in motorsport by partnering with a variety of teams across different championships and categories.
And that shows their versatility and commitment to supporting motorsport across a wide spectrum of racing disciplines in Australia. Primera truly have made a name for themselves in this high-paced industry.
Absolutely, mate. And it's companies like Primera that help elevate the motorsport experience, and they make teams stand out with their custom apparel and merchandise. In fact, we looked damn smart back in the day with those things too. So if you're a motorsport team looking to enhance your brand or gear up with high-quality products, make sure you check out Primera.
Absolutely. We'll get a photo up this afternoon and showcase my beautiful looks in this beautifully red Ferrari Club jacket.
Red is your colour, I must confess.
I do like a little bit of red. I absolutely love it. So to be wearing it really brings out my eyes, I reckon.
I'll let shade. I'm not going to say anything at all. But now, speaking of bringing out talents, we had in our mailbag, I had someone send me a message the other day that actually wished to remain anonymous, but they said, hey Jamie, just wanted to ask a question for the show. If I was to get coaching through Lee, because he's talked about driver coaching in the past, what's involved for a particular novice? So over to you, Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, obviously, that's not very obvious, I suppose, otherwise they wouldn't have had to have asked the question. A day really depends on the level of driver that we're at. So what I like to normally do is we get out there nice and early in the morning, start with a couple of sessions where the driver goes out and does as they would, where we're out there, set a base lap time. We've got 2 sessions, the one session to work out where the track is in the morning and get our eye back in. And then the second session, we should be, pretty well hitting most of our marks and dialed into it, what we would normally be doing on a lap by lap basis at the track. So I go out and I watch both of those sessions from various spots within the track itself, and I stand on apexes and have a look at what we're doing and braking and accelerator input and just where the go-kart is being positioned and all that sort of stuff. And then after the second session is where I start to really work out where the person needs the most help, and we start to dial in on those parts of the track in particular. So it's then we look at the data. If it's a senior driver, then I always like to jump in the go-kart as well and take their go-kart for a drive, so then we can overlay their data against a lap from me, so I can show them corner by corner what is actually happening differently with the way that the go-kart's being slowed down or the positioning on the track. We watch camera footage, the rest of that sort of stuff as well. So we really do a deep dive into where the kart's positioned, and we talk about racing lines. We talk about why we're opening up corners versus closing some other corners off. We talk about extending the amount of time that we're on the throttle and why that's important. We talk about maximising braking and how we make that happen, and then steering inputs and that sort of stuff as well. So it's really a full day to work out if, number one, there's anything really fundamentally wrong which we need to dial in on straight away, or whether it's just bit by bit around the track, making every part of the track link together. If it's done on a weekday or there's no one else at the track, then I can also like to put out some cones or some markers on the track that we need to look at, and then I sort of we talk about where to look while we're driving as well, because one of the things that a lot of newbies are guilty of, and this is a piece of free advice for all the listeners. One of the things that newbies are very guilty of is just looking at the end of their nose cone or staring at their feet while they're driving. Well, if you're looking at that part of the track while you're driving, by the time you've even seen something go wrong and you're trying to react to it, you're already past the scene of that incident. So it's really important to look up. We always say to look 2 to 3 seconds ahead of where you are on the track, to help you position the kart properly for each instance. So yeah, that's sort of what a day entails. That's sort of the full driver coaching package. If it's a race day and it's a bit harder to get on track, then we help out with driver footage watching. We help out with the mental side of things. So, why didn't you pass that person when you really could have? Like, what's stopping you and blocking you from doing that? We talk about, if you're the leader, when you should block, when you shouldn't block or defend. So yeah, there's a couple of different aspects behind it, but the nailing down on all of the driving aspects is one of the key things.
Very good. And yes, I have had one of those sessions. It was a little while ago now, actually. I think when we still had the SQ. And yeah, got a lot out of it in terms of just the lines. And one of the things I remember, even to this day in particular, was not fighting the go-kart. Whereas we're like holding onto the wheel and just you can feel it bind up, but you're not actually conscious of it. Whereas now, because of that training, I'm very conscious of it, where I don't have to battle it as much as well. So that partially set up, but a lot of it's just more confidence in the tyre grip and the kart itself, and letting it do a lot more of the work rather than the driver as well.
Yeah, 100%. I try not to do too much around changing setups of a go-kart. That's a different aspect of a day altogether. But yeah, just learning how to drive the go-kart with the setup that you've got. It's fine tuning a setup is only going to find you a couple of tenths a lap, whereas if you're up and down and you're not consistent 5 tenths, 6 tenths away from your best lap, then there's more in your driving than there's ever going to be in a go-kart setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely something that I would encourage those that are wanting to get serious about their racing to actually get out there and either hook Lee up or get in contact with a coach that you feel comfortable with that's going to help get the best out of you. So there's more than one way to skin a cat in terms of getting speed and lap time, but it's better to iron out the bugs early and get rid of any bad habits initially, rather than trying to break the mould of bad habit, especially when you're an older driver as well. You know nothing, whereas a kid, it's easy to teach right from the beginning.
Yeah, and it's good to get those inside knowledges as well, because if you go to a new track or something, you need that in your portfolio of tools to be able to take out to help learn a new track really quickly. Like one of the things that I find myself being able to do is adjust and adapt to a new track really fast without doing too many practice sessions, and that's just because I've got all the basics down pat with how I've been taught to drive here as well. So giving people the tools to do that, or even going away with them to take a young driver to a new track and go for that first track walk with them and tell them where to position the go-kart for each reason and for each corner. It can be absolutely crucial to making sure you're staying at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more questions that popped into the mailbag?
No, I didn't get one, so I was
Oh, there you go.
surprised that you got one through.
I know. Not anyone asked me questions.
You can tell me off air who the anonymous person was, and I'll have to send them a text message.
I will. But no, keep them coming in. Don't hesitate to send us any questions. And as we've said in previous episodes, it could be about anything. It could be about us personally. It could be about any particular motorsport genre. It could be thoughts and opinions on races that have gone past as well. Your content matters to us, and your input matters to us as well. So it could even be feedback. Bring that in too. But definitely hit us up through podcast@negativecamber.co if you want to send through email. You can actually send a message through our website, negativecamber.co. You can also do it through our Facebook page as well, and Instagram. So there's plenty of ways that you can DM us. I think that's what they call DM.
Yeah, jump into our DMs. Slide into our DMs.
Yeah. But be authentic with the DMs. Like, don't try and hit on us or anything like that, please. So we're both married. And yeah, we look forward to your input and hearing from you very, very soon. So, now, we're not a full break or anything like that, are we? No? Cool. Bathurst 1000. Let's Bathurst 1000. Well, today was the 60th running of the Bathurst 1000, a day that is nearest and dearest to me and many motorsport fans as well. But I don't think there's any motorsport fanatic that doesn't actually take some portion of the day to sit down and at least watch the race or actually make the trek over. So I definitely got some spam from individuals that made the trek. And in one case, it was one of my closest mates. It was his first time ever at the event. And he got some tickets from Bunnings and got to walk the grid and all that sort of stuff as well. So it wasn't a bad gig. But if you're a Ford fan, it wasn't the greatest day, and there's a lot going on in the background behind that. But I'll run through the top 10 results. Shane Van Gisbergen first, followed by Richie Stanaway. What a comeback, considering 2 years ago he was down and out and done with the sport. And then you had Kostecki and Russell in second, so it was a Camaro 1-2. Di Pasquale and D'Alberto third, Mostert, Holsworth fourth, Reynolds Tander fifth, Courtney Best sixth, Fullwood Fiore seventh, Brown and Perkins eighth, LeBrock Ojeda ninth, and Golding and O'Keefe rounding out the top 10. So Brock Feeney and Jamie Whincup were 4 seconds off the lead and closing on SVG, who was holding on for grim life with mechanical gremlins towards the back end of that race, and did a gearbox. So there was a structural problem with both Craig Lowndes' Camaro as well as the Whincup Feeney Camaro, where the bracket or the gate that houses and holds the shifter mechanism and the gearbox actually snapped away and stripped them of gears. So, which, in Craig Lowndes' case, it was actually about, pretty much it was early in the race and cost him 3 laps. And Brock Feeney, Brock Feeney, it was 20 laps left. And you don't realise you take for granted how much the race means to those drivers and those competing until you actually see the emotion that Brock Feeney had in the car, and then also sitting in the pit bunker watching the team repairing the car. That was, obviously the keyboard warriors had a bit of a field day, but when you race cars or you race any form of motorsport, and you get an appreciation for how much that win means or that race means.
Even more so when it's taken away from you through no fault of your own. Like,
exactly.
It's a bit different if he'd gone and punted it into a wall like Moffat or something like that. But when it's a mechanical failure and nothing that you can control, and it happened on both cars, unfortunately, but that hurts even more.
2 out of 3. So there was some controversy leading into the event. So Ford, and it's been talked about on and off throughout the show, throughout the whole year, where the word parity, if I hear the word parity again, I think it's been the number one topic for the series for the whole year. And
actually making themselves look a little bit silly.
It is now, yeah. And look, the 4 teams came to Bathurst with fears of being left behind by the Camaro. It wasn't as bad as what, visually anyway, although they had some grave concerns internally in terms of the performance disparity between the Camaro and the Mustang. And so Ford came out with an aero package that they felt was going to shift the balance of the car to be more in favour of tyre wear and less drag and that type of thing. And so there was a crisis meeting that was held amongst all the teams at the beginning of the event, probably on the Wednesday. That was what was scheduled. And supercars and the teams couldn't come to an agreement as to whether to allow the aerodynamic advancements or not. Basically what it was just left as is, with the general consensus being that there's 2 rounds left in the series outside of Bathurst. Instead of making makeshift solutions, take the cars overseas, put them in a wind tunnel, and actually get the aerodynamics right, good and proper, rather than making makeshift solutions. Which even though I'm wearing a Ford or a Tickford T-shirt, I'm actually I actually think that's the right decision. And the thing that doesn't sit well with a lot of the fans is the inconsistency of how the rules have been governed. So let's cast our minds back to 2019 when the original generation Mustang came out with Team DJ Penske, and within 2 rounds, after the domination of those first 2 events, which they won the first 2 races at the 500 and clean swept at the Australian Grand Prix, there was fundamental aerodynamic changes made and also centre of gravity shifts, etc., to equal the balance between the Mustang and the ZB Commodore at the time, whereas in this case, they've had to wait 6 or 7 rounds for parity triggers and all sorts of stuff. And so what that does do is it causes consternation, it causes frustration amongst the fans. And it's been yo-yoing back and forth throughout the whole year to the detriment of the series. And yet they get record numbers through Bathurst this year, or close to it. It was one of their higher attendances. But, is that for the event or was that for this category? Like, who do you believe and who do you
think
trust?
more for the event, and it's always a show. Everyone always turns up for Bathurst, no matter what. It's the party atmosphere, it's the vibe, it's the great race. It's it still threatened to be quite a close battle, and it should have been a closer race, but obviously didn't pan out that way. But going back to your parity stuff, I'm just looking at the results now, and it was not a bad race. There was 6 of the top 12 were Ford, 6 of the top 12 were Camaro, and then if you go further, 8 of the top 16 were the Mustang, and 8 of the top 16 were Camaro. So it ended up being quite even, and even into the top 10 shootout on out and out 1 lap pace. I mean, Brody did absolutely smash them by half a second, but the rest of Waters was only a few hundredths away from Feeney, and there was not very much in it at all. So I don't think the parity problem, even though supercars have addressed it and said there isn't actual parity in the field at the moment between the 2 cars, I don't think it was as gaping of a gap as everyone expected.
I agree. And look, at the end of the day, the cars that were at the top that were fighting for the race would have been the leading teams all year. Yeah. And then but a lot of the Mustangs were ahead of the other Camaro teams. I mean, Brad Jones, they were nowhere all weekend. Team 18 were in struggle street. You had the second of the Coke Camaros didn't have the greatest of races. They were sort of working backwards or working, from behind all week. So, I mean, you had Waters was there or thereabouts, but, Moffat, binned it, put it in the fence at the S's and the Dipper during the race and very early on. So, and then, majority of the Mustangs from the leading teams all finished ahead of majority of the Camaros outside of Erebus and Triple Eight, and they've been the leading teams all year. So I think, look, you know what, if you're going to make aerodynamic changes, yes, it's the biggest race of the year. Yeah, I get it. Ford are, threatening to pull the pin and all that sort of stuff, but just get it right for once.
Take them away, do it properly at the end of the year, and get it right, get it ready to go for next year, and be transparent about the process and the results and everything like that as well, because otherwise there will just still be questions being asked if something happens at round 1 next year. Yep,
absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, as you've said before and as we've touched on it before, the finger's got to be pointed at the team that led the design of both those cars and commissioned both those cars, because they had 12 months to get it right. And why they didn't do it right in the first place, because of the importance that rode on the category and the formula. And there's certainly parties for both those that designed the Camaro and also the Mustang outside of the Supercars Commission that have got to put their hands up and take some accountability and responsibility as well. And yet it's been supercars and certain individuals within supercars that get continually targeted, mainly because the punters have a chip on their shoulder. That's about it. So... I think the race is the race, and hey, guess what? You know what? If we had a 30-second win for the first time in 20 years, it happens.
It's
and if you
the biggest
tell me
win since 1999, which was also the last time an all New Zealand duo won the race as well.
Yep, exactly. And if you tell me that the old days where you had cars that were laps ahead of second place, and you're seeing that as better racing and better form of entertainment, and there's disparity and all that sort of stuff, well, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So I think let's put it into context and perspectives.
A huge thank you goes out to our podium partner, Procast Race Centre, and our incredible sponsors. Your partnership allows us to continue bringing you this show and dive deeper into the world of motorsports. If your business adds value to the motorsport community, get in touch with us to become a Negative Camber partner.
Get ready to ignite your racing passion at Procast Race Centre, your ultimate destination for motorsport excellence. Our track isn't just a playground, it's a classroom where 25 years of racing knowledge come to life. Imagine having a team of seasoned experts guiding you from the rookie to the pro. Our driver coaching services aren't just about finding those elusive extra tenths on the track, they're about moulding winners. With hands-on guidance, racing line tips, and data analysis, you'll not only experience the thrill of speed, but the satisfaction of victory. Join us and witness the transformation of your racing game as our expertise propels you to the forefront of the competition. Visit prokartsracecentre.com.au or pop in for a chat at 30 Research Road, Paraka. Prokarts Race Centre, fueling your passion, igniting your potential.
The other week was the Japanese Formula One Grand Prix, and in a previous show we may have talked about it briefly, but we weren't able to get highlights. So here is some highlights of the Japanese Grand Prix, and then we'll come back with a synopsis.
And the Japanese Grand Prix is go! Good reaction time, Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen knew he was going to get a good time. He's squeezing him. Round the outside goes Lando Norris. Big crash, big contact in the middle. Side by side they go. Max Verstappen hangs on to the lead. Oscar Piastri is down to third. Up to second place goes Lando Norris, who was brave. There was a wheel bump in the middle of the racetrack there, and it's one of the Alpines heading backwards. There's damage for an Alfa Romeo, but Verstappen, Jolien, had to get his elbows out, and he maintained the lead.
Yeah, he did really well to do so, defending inside and outside. The two AlphaTauri side by side of Tsunoda going up the inside of Liam Lawson, who got him at the start. I don't know how Verstappen kept the lead there, with Norris charging on the outside and Piastri there on the inside.
Oh, it's very, very tight on the inside with the two AlphaTauris squeezing each other all the while. Are they going to make contact? Liam Lawson gets ahead. Car number 40 powers ahead of his teammate, so it's losing positions off the line. Yuki Tsunoda down 2 places to 11th.
Yeah, Lawson's got himself up into the top 10, and the safety car is out. Piastri on the inside almost goes onto the grass himself. There's the touch. Perez and Hamilton have a little touch. Then there's another one further back. Wow, that was big contact for Albon.
This is on board with Kevin Magnussen. Has his path blocked, and he's going to get a good view of the contact. That's amazing that Williams is still pointing in a straight line. That is Valtteri Bottas off the road.
Here's what happens to Bottas then around the outside. Oh, he gets a whack from Sargent.
Dive bomb move from George Russell on his teammate. Hamilton had to give him the space, and George Russell will have a smile a mile wide there because he's made the pass at the chicane, but Hamilton will not take that lying down. The two Mercedes not at the front of the field like they were last week. Over some debris goes George Russell there. Hamilton trying to retake 7th position. Russell thought about nibbling back, and Hamilton retakes the place. And there is Valtteri Bottas' day. And he's gone out in the early part of the race today. Another late lunge. Oh, contact! Unbelievable. Round goes the Haas. Contact again for Perez.
Have a nose to the inside. He's coming from a long way back. He's nowhere near. Oh, it's really poor. It's really poor from Perez. That was a pretty poor-looking move.
And Sergio Perez has been told to retire the car. This is a hugely fast part of the racetrack as we plunge downhill, and you try to make the corner as wide as possible, trying to sweep around the outside, and no room given. Both Mercedes off the road. They might not be at the very front of the field this week, but they're continuing to give us amazing entertainment.
Who do we want to fight here, each other or the others?
This needs to be another classic Red Bull stop. So many of the best pit stops this year have gone the way of this team. And he goes out. 3.3 is okay. That is the driver that he's worrying about on the exit of the corner, and they have played that to perfection once again. Really well timed and executed for Red Bull. Track position for Verstappen over Piastri as Hamilton comes in to get rid of those medium tyres. That is a wide moment for George Russell, and through goes Verstappen. So Russell not fighting it, even if he wanted to. It's another quick move. We're going through the right-hander, we're getting the spoon, and we move ahead. So Charles Leclerc ticking off the places nicely. And now we're looking at Carlos Sainz all over the back of his childhood hero. Fernando Alonso was the driver who started the Spanish love affair with Formula One, and he isn't going to be able to keep him behind for too much longer. There goes the Ferrari driver. The outside line will eventually turn into the inside line, and it will eventually turn into 7th place for Carlos Sainz.
They'll have a run this time down towards the chicane. No DRS at this stage. Going to be right with him through 130R.
And Hamilton going for the move on Alonso at the 130R. These two great side by side. And it's another great moment of brinkmanship. Alonso knowing there's nothing he could do to fight back.
But I'm way quicker. I'm just in the dirt again. We're going to swap positions.
So Lando Norris finally takes second position after asking for the team order for the swap very early on. Had to wait a couple of laps, but he's finally up to second place. As Alonso gets ever closer, if he turns that into a traction race, that is going to turn into 9th position. Tsunoda at his home race doesn't want to give the place away. And once again, we're seeing plenty of racing at this part of the circuit today. Down the hill, the 220R, and then into the spoon curve, and position gained for Fernando Alonso, now in 9th place. Pressure on the pit crews as they make these stops. We were expecting 2 for the day at the start of the Grand Prix. One is pretty adventurous.
I guess we've been undercut, yeah?
Yes, confirmed.
Here comes the move for second position. It will be eventually. And this is going to be a tidy pass to the inside. It's only for third at the moment, but it will be P2 later on. This is a DRS zone now for Piastri. There's the inside defensive shape. And around the outside to take his place on the podium, and he will bolt. He will give it everything he's got now. The Australian driver up to third.
Leclerc closer this time. Russell has to defend it. Here we go.
Trying to go the long way round. That's what it looks like if you try to overtake it on turn one. What great pictures. Crowd love that move.
We'll invert positions. Be careful of Sainz with DRS though.
Why don't we invert on the last lap? And he just keeps the DRS like last week. Unless he's fighting for a bigger result.
So it's an instruction, George. Swap positions.
And he's going to feather out the throttle. Does Hamilton take the place? Yes, he does, to the inside, and then he tries to jump back in. Russell listening to the team's instruction. And here's the chance standing on the power as we go down the main straight. Russell needs that DRS. He's got the DRS, but he's also got Carlos Sainz tucked right underneath him. Russell's going to lose the position. Into turn one goes Carlos Sainz to take the place away and take 6th place. Max Verstappen comes out of the final corner for the final time. Max Verstappen wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Red Bull are champions of the world for the 6th time. They take the Constructors' title for the 2nd year in a row, the 6th time in team history.
Max, that was absolutely fantastic. That was 19.4 ahead of the rest of the field, and that wins us our 6th Constructors' World Championship. So congratulations, and thank you very much. You were totally awesome and dominant this weekend.
Yeah, unbelievable, guys. You deserve that. What an unbelievable season we're having. You can all be very proud. You're at the track, back at the factory. Everyone, unbelievable.
A 13th Grand Prix win of the year, a 48th all-time for Max Verstappen, who's into the arms of his world champion team once again. His 2nd win at Suzuka. And both times he's crossed the line to win this race, either he or the team have won the title. It's the team this year. The next time the 5 red lights go out for the sprint race in Qatar, Verstappen has his first chance to take the title. And it lights up when you kiss the back of the trophy. Max Verstappen does as instructed, and it works perfectly.
And there you have it. The Japanese Grand Prix completely and utterly dominated by Max Verstappen and the Red Bull team. and winning their Constructors' Championship, the 6th one, I believe. Puts them 1 off Mercedes-Benz, and, well, they're probably another 7 off beating Ferrari. Just wanted to get that in there. But, yes, Mr. Harrison, you can actually read the results if you like.
Oh, Max Verstappen obviously winning the race, with Lando Norris second and Oscar Piastri third in a double podium for McLaren, and Piastri's first podium. So that was a good result. Charles Leclerc in fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Carlos Sainz in sixth, George Russell seventh, Fernando Alonso in eighth, Esteban Ocon in ninth, and Pierre Gasly in 10th.
Now, talking points. Red Bull... And it's funny because it was actually during the broadcast for this weekend where the question was asked to Max what his thoughts are on the season and his achievements and his accolades and all that sort of stuff. And his response was actually, it was typical Max, but it was actually, when you think about it, probably most drivers would be in the same boat where the results are kind of, he gets, it's not a bad list in terms of the accolades of who he's with, but it won't really hit him until well after retirement where he sits back and reflects on the career. And, a lot of the drivers actually think about and respond in a very, very similar manner. But I don't know, I kind of think that there's no harm in actually sort of taking a step back now and appreciating the moment as well.
He might do that, in the coming months, but, focus on the job first and foremost and make sure that you don't take your mind off it, because as soon as you do, that opens you up to mistakes. As soon as you start to let your mind wander and think that the job's done, then the Formula One car can bite you quite quickly. But I think it's quite cool. He knows what he's got, but and what he's done, but he keeps his 2 World Drivers' Championship trophies, one sitting next to the sim and one sitting next to the TV. So they're always there in every facet of his life where he can see them and appreciate them. But eyes on the prize at the moment and making sure he's still doing a good job for the team.
It's funny because and trophies and awards of that nature would always. For an individual, that could be either a daily reminder of what you've achieved, but also it could be reminders of if you've won an accolade or an award where it's a reminder of a lost opportunity. So, like in my case, and I look at from personal experience, I've got a bronze medal from when I raced track racing for state championships, but that reminder, that medal's there, and it kind of reminds me of the fact that when I say inherited the medal, it was only 4 of us that raced, and I got third. And third's great. I shouldn't knock that achievement back. But, at that time, I wasn't fit. I wasn't in the right shape, and I got a third, but it kind of reminds me of could have been better, and it's just sat there. Whereas in his case, it would be a daily reminder of I've excelled.
Yeah.
Like 2021 is...
currently excelling as well.
And you're currently excelling.
Yeah.
Like 2021, you could be however you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
But 22 and 23, I mean...
So
class of the field.
Maybe you're in a different category. You don't have that many trophies to speak of, but I'm the same. Like, I don't really keep any third or second placing ones sitting on a bookshelf. The only ones that I've got on display whenever I go into my man cave are my first place ones. So it's not something that you sort of put there to remind yourself that I could have done better.
No. It's like, for me, it drives me, on that respect. So we'll talk more about it when we come back, because there's been a viewer question that's come through as well about routines and that sort of stuff that we can cover after the break.
You've reached the checkered flag of another episode of Negative Camber the Motorsport Show, proudly brought to you by ProKarts Race Centre. A huge thank you to you, our incredible listeners. Your support and passion for motorsports fuels our enthusiasm to bring you the latest results, analysis, and interviews from the racing world. Keep that FOMO at bay by subscribing to Negative Camber on your favourite podcast platform. We'd also love it if you could leave us a review and share the show with your fellow racing enthusiasts. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, Negative Camber is more than just a podcast. We're a community of dedicated fans who live and breathe motorsports. Follow us on socials, join us on our website, negativecamber.co, and be sure to subscribe to the Negative Camber Club for access to exclusive content, episode previews, and special deals from our amazing partners. Until next time, stay fueled with passion, embrace the negative camber, and keep chasing those podium finishes.